Hi, Annie. Thank you so much for joining us today again. My name is Daphne Thompson, and I'm the founder at Catch Beat. Today on our Superwomen Entrepreneurs chat, we are going to chat about due diligence versus delegating. Now, that is quite a big one. But before we get into that, let me just tell you guys a little bit about me. I'm the founder at Catch Beat, and we create wealth. And the way that we create wealth is through digital marketing, because we know and we fully understand that if a entrepreneur or a market leader is empowered with wealth, they can ignite change in their communities. And when they're able to do that, massive change happens and wealth is created. So that is what we do, and we absolutely love doing it. Our secret sauce is in the follow-up. Just remember that. So Annie, tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, I'm Annie, and I'm very happy to be here with Daphne today. We often have a bigger group, and this is a little bit smaller group, but it's always great to be here with Daphne. So I am an immigration professional in Canada. It's a really amazing job because I get to work with people and I get to problem solve, and I meet a lot of interesting people, and I do a lot of different processes that they bring a lot to my life, is what I would say. Today was an exciting day because one of my clients received her permanent residency card, which is the final step in achieving her permanent residency in Canada. And every time this happens, it's like, I don't know, the fireworks go off, even though, it's happened a billion times. But for me, every single time I'm like, it happened and she's got it and it's so great. And we accomplished this. And for this person in particular, it's been 7 years. So she's had a long it's been a long process for her just to obtain the right ingredients to become a permanent resident, because it is points-based in Canada. And so it took a long time. So it's a lot of work, and she made it, and it was great to be part of her journey. So that's what I do. But I also, my number one thing that I love as much as immigration is business, which is why I am here helping other female entrepreneurs to succeed in their businesses. I have a successful practice near Toronto in Canada, and I hope that what I've learned over my 20 years of being an entrepreneur might be able to help other people in their journey as an entrepreneur, whether they're starting out or they're midway through or coming to the end.
That is awesome. So, I love what you're wearing today, and you told me that is specifically so that you can go into running your marathon and do business at the same time. Come on,
yes.
you gotta explain that a little bit more.
Yeah. So, at the start of COVID, things changed a lot. And I used to be an active professional horse rider. And when I stopped doing that as much and things changed with being able to be active during COVID, I thought, well, I've got to do something, so I'll run. So about a year ago, I picked up running, and I could run about 30 seconds at a time at the most. I was kind of a disaster. But I just did it when I could, and I maybe only ran 2 or 3 days a week. Then I would do a little bit when I could. And I just followed a couch to 5K plan. I recommend people do them. And I wasn't serious. I ran if I could, and I didn't if I couldn't. And now, about a year and a little bit later, I'm going to be doing my first marathon. And one thing I will say, ladies, is a lot of you have very busy lifestyles, and you probably, you may have kids, or you may have a dog, or you may have just other things going on in your life. You're not just a businesswoman. So you've got all these outside forces pulling at you, and you're trying to get your activity in, and you're trying to do all the things and have the balanced lifestyle that we're all supposed to have. One of my tricks is get your workout wear on and do some of your work in it, because then at least when you can go, you're ready to go. So today I'm pairing my training with this video and a few other things that were going on in the day. So I'm ready to roll as soon as this is over. I'm out there to do my run so I can fit all the things in. And I think that's just kind of what we have to do. It means, no, I'm not dressed in my professional, in my water vest, my hydration vest, but this is how I'm going to get it done. And what I hope is that people can look past the clothes a little bit and see the drive and determination that is also associated with this other part of my life. And I think it's important that all of you female entrepreneurs recognize that you're not just that business person. You are that mom, and you are that person who's trying to balance all these things in here, and you need these tricks to do it.
That's awesome. Welcome, Tommy. Thank you so much for joining us again today. So tell us a little bit about you and what you've been up to today.
Wow, I think I have a couple of projects that I was almost missing the deadline, so I was able to achieve that. So I've not really slept very well over the past couple of days. So I'm still working on the second one, but I'm hoping by tomorrow that the pressure would be relieved. So that's what I've been up to, and I do understand what Anna's been saying. Because it's very easy, because as I said, I've been under pressure to deliver a couple of projects where I've not had time for my kids, I've not had time for myself, and I'll keep asking myself, when am I going to go back to my morning jog/walking, which I've not done. So it's at the back of my mind, but at the same time, I need to make a decision to do it. So I think for me would be just to do it. But right now, like, I'm slightly alert than usual, but I know that even after this call, I have to go back on the project because I want the pressure to end. At least by tomorrow, I just want to, follow my normal routine. And I definitely think that we have to take care of ourselves. Whether we do is a different case. It's very easy. We all know what we have to do, but the question is, do we really do them? And it's a daily reflection to everyone, including myself, because if you ignore your body, there's always a repercussion. And so that's all I have to say. And I do know this, and so that's why I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself to complete the task at least latest by tomorrow, because I want to go back to my normal routine.
Yes. No, I agree with you. I'm kind of in exactly the same boat, which means there's a lot of other women that are in exactly the same situation as well, where life kind of sort of just gets in the way, where you have your kids and you have all these projects that, yes, you want to be part of and you want to make this better, but it's almost as if there's just not enough hours in the day, and then you don't have enough energy if there is more hours to actually do that. So I completely get what you mean, and I love what you said about how you basically set aside some due diligence time to actually get this sorted in order to get your life back. Sometimes it is for a season where you need to put in that 16 hours a day or whatever that might be for a very short period of time in order for it to flow better again. Once these projects are out and online, I'm 100% certain that that's when the return investment will start coming in. The workload will probably decrease, but the diligence will not. So
just to add to that, like, for example, I just got one person starting, and I honestly don't have. I've been dealing with more of virtual assistant, but I've literally gotten like physical person starting, and I know that I have to get all the HR stuff together, which I know I have somewhere on my computer in my file, but I need to get them sorted and aligned and just organize them so I know what I'm giving to the person on a weekly basis. So I know that once that person starts, it will relieve a lot of pressure off me as well, because obviously with every new person starting and HR thing involved and things like that, there is a process to all of that. So it's just really getting my acts together. And it's very, like, for example, I've not really been on social media for the past like 2 to 3 weeks, but I know that I have to get back on it because there is I really do want to continue to build my personal brand as well, which over the COVID time gave me that opportunity, and I don't want to lose that opportunity.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. How's the Clubhouse going? Because I remember you were saying you specifically want some time set apart for Clubhouse.
I can't. I can attend rooms, but I can't. With Clubhouse right now, if you think about it, I'm not sure whether everyone has found this, but a lot of the rooms that are regular are people that have actually set aside time. I think it's mostly now people are more going to people's rooms rather than setting up their own rooms. Because when I go on it right now, there are only certain rooms that are there. Like during the COVID time, where before all of the world was open, you have so many rooms, back to back. And now you can count the ones that are really, really interesting to you, especially when it comes to business and entrepreneurship and all of that, and personal development. It's not as much in comparison to before. So I think the day-to-day activity of people trying to get their business back on track, people that have not made so much money or lost money during the COVID, or people's businesses, like, some people lost maybe their staffing, and the disorganization that COVID has created. I think people are trying to get things back together. So trying to dedicate that specific time on Clubhouse is a really push. So you get more people going into rooms now than having so much variety of rooms. That's what I found anyway. I don't know about you.
I actually I have to agree on that. I was on it yesterday and the day before, but I was specifically looking for like the entrepreneurial groups and the networking groups and the pitching rooms, those type of rooms where it used to be like practice your pitch here and do yours there, and it was just I couldn't find it. What I found is a lot of like those funny sexy time rooms.
Yeah.
I've found a lot of those, and like just talking about absolute nonsense, but not the real ones. But all right, let's get back on track here. So let's quickly speak about.
Yeah, what is the topic for today? Diligence and delegating. Well, we talked about that a little bit.
Yeah. So I also just want to touch base on how due diligence and delegating would fit into a Superwoman Entrepreneurs Global Mastermind, which is almost live. Our website is on the final pieces of confirmation so that we can get that live. Our Facebook group, guys, please join our Facebook group, Superwomen Entrepreneurs Facebook group, our page, and our Instagram. Get involved, get there. We've been starting to introduce all of our global masterminds that will be taking this and taking you through these. I'm giving a feedback here. Someone else hear the feedback?
Yeah, I am hearing feedback. I don't know where it's coming from. Maybe it's a TV somewhere.
It's strange. But anyway, so we're starting on this. Please follow us there. Make sure that you're part of the community. Come and meet us. Send us some DMs. We'd really like to hear from you. What this global mastermind is all about is to help female entrepreneurs get to the next level on a holistic view, from what to eat, how much to sleep, how to do your budget, how to do your business plan, what are the relationships that you need to, what is your clarifying goals that you need to set it, how to break through limiting beliefs, everything that you might need. This is what the Global Mastermind is there about for a holistic view. It comes with coaching, it comes with networking with global masterminds in different time zones, in different countries. So this is really a fundamental part for you to excel to the next level. And I'd like to invite each and every one of you to be part of it. So my role specifically will be more about the digital marketing, which aspects to look at. I'll focus a lot on LinkedIn, on the courses part, but in the coaching, we'll have a holistic view of what the digital marketing looks like. So Annie, what will you be focusing on?
Thanks, Stephanie. So I'll be focusing on business relationships and all the various types of business relationships that you will be involved in being a female entrepreneur. So they can be business relationships with your clients, your colleagues, your service providers, and all these different people who touch your business in some way, and how those business relationships can benefit you, things to watch out for, things to develop, and just all the different areas of business relationships that are going to help propel your business forward. This is something that I have found has been a successful part of my businesses. I really enjoy building business relationships and looking at all the different types of relationships that there are, and working collaboratively with people and seeing that as a very positive thing. So I hope that I am able to bring to the people who are interested in working with our group and using the Mastermind, I hope that I can bring some great tools to their tool chest and help them to move their business forward as well.
Tell me, and you?
Yeah, with regards to the masterclass, I will be focusing mainly on clarity. We all know the information. We are living in the information age. In fact, I would say we are living in a confusion age, not an information. There's so much everywhere. But then, how do you put your mind in a place that is able to distinguish right from wrong, the right information and the wrong information? How you able to understand and have clarity on who you are, your vision that you want to achieve, and also within your brand, what is your message? What are you trying to get out of it? What is that thing that you want to deliver, but is aligned with who you are? So it's very easy to say that I have a brand, I have a business, I want to help other people, but is it aligned to who you really are? So it's really just going through certain steps to give you that methodology on how to have a deep clarity, a place where you are clear and you are convinced about your message, and you are convinced that you are living the world and the life that you want to live, and also to relate that to your brand, because once you have that understanding of who you are, then you're able to, deliver your message, whether through your speaking, or even through the messages you deliver with regards to your products online or even offline. You are aligned in what you say. You are aligned in all forms of your delivery. So that's the purpose of the Clarity Masterclass, to help you get unstuck and clear your mind, free your mind, so that you could achieve the goals that you've always wanted.
So how does due diligence and delegating fit into our mastermind? Well, for me specifically, is due diligence is please go research each and every one of us. Go make sure that you go check out our websites, make sure that you check out our Facebook pages, send us DMs, see if it's what you get on the DM is actually who you're speaking to. Make sure that you are fully sorted in finding out if we're actually real people and what of our successes are. The delegation part in that would be, I can give it to someone else to do, but can you trust that person? Will that person still be able to do it the way that we want them to do? Now, this is the part where I struggle personally. I am super keen on delegating. I love giving other people stuff to do. Me personally, I'm not the best worker, but I'm brilliant at giving other people stuff to do. My problem is sometimes, and I'm sure you guys will definitely know what I'm talking about, is I sometimes feel that they can't do it the way that I do it. And yes, it comes with training, and yes, it comes with added thought processes, but how do you get a employee, like you're starting a new employee now, which is going to add more free or give you more free time if they do it kind of the way that you want it to do, and if they do what they're supposed to do. But how do you get your employees to that level, or your helpers, in order for you to hand it over? I'd love to hear your input.
I think, to me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. I think it's more of understanding what you are trying to achieve in every single project that you have, in every single job. And when you delegate, it's very good. Well, it's easy saying, oh, go and get this done. But then do they have the tools, the right tools and the resources to get it done? And I believe if people have the right resources, right? So say, for example, you want them to create, for me, like the person that's starting with me, he's going to be responsible for videos in terms of editing videos and video production generally. So the key thing is, do I have a simple software that's going to make him achieve that? if there, is there some, because there's so many different software out there. Do I have great templates, things that is needed within it that is easily accessible? And then do I have the process? So if you're going to create a video and edit a video, what are the steps you're going to follow to make it effective? Because we know that is a very time-consuming task. So I don't want us to spend a lot of time doing that. However, what are the quick ways of getting this done so I can do it efficiently? Because even if I have to do it, what I'm thinking about time and cost, and I'm thinking about quality of what I'm producing. So the tool that I have given this person, is it enough for them to achieve those three things? And obviously provide them with a training. Do they have the right training to achieve it? So get them to do one or two tasks independently, assess it, critique it, and once you're happy, just allow them to follow certain processes, and then you are at the approval stage. So as I said, when you're delegating is great, but the question is, does this person have the right tools and the resources to achieve the level of work that you want them to achieve? And then if they can't, then you can take part of it, and then you split the role. Because I do hear a lot of people say that as well, that like my previous business partner she loved delegating as well, but her delegation is go and get that done, and then people are stuck, and then you're not delivering. So that is my experience anyway. Give them the right tools and the resources and get them trained as quickly as possible.
Annie, and you? What do you think about that?
I agree with that. And that's what's so difficult about onboarding someone new, is that usually when you hire someone new, you're so busy you can't train, but you absolutely have to be able to take that time to make sure that they know what you want. And then you also need to figure out the tasks that you would like them to do that are going to help you to do the main job. So, for example, Tomi or Daphne or myself, we're the main person. We're the problem solver. We're the person who puts together the final package for the client. And we're the face and the person that the client is reaching out to. So ultimately, we're also the one who's blamed if something goes wrong. So we have to have the final say, but we need to be able to alleviate the amount of work that we are doing. And there are many tasks that the person to whom we're delegating can do, but it's finding the right tasks and that right balance, and then training them so that they can do that. So, for me, I have a lot of repetitive processes that have to be done. And so that was an easy place to start with a staff member, was to give them a task that we know is going to repeat over and over and over. It's not important that I do this task, but it's important that it is done. And so this, for me, is a simple way to start new people, because I can have them do this repetitive task. Ultimately, I'm going to look at this process that's being completed, but it just gets it off my plate. And another thing that I'll do is have them do a series of tasks that are preparatory for something I'm going to present for a client or for an application that I'm going to do. So I'm going to have the final say, and I'm going to have the final look, and I'm going to have the final request for documents or whatever I need to achieve this goal. But they're getting some of that behind the scenes rough work finished. So I know that it's not going to impact my client because it's not the final process. But it is actually going to impact my client positively, because we can move forward on some of these more mundane tasks that have to be done that I maybe can't get to right away. So we have found that by delegating the right tasks, we've been able to speed up our processes and give better service overall. And I've been able to focus on more of that problem solving piece and the real thinking parts of things. So anything now in this particular job, and I've always said you should delegate anything, that doesn't require this problem solving piece, right? Anything that is a straight up task should be delegated, because you don't need to be doing that. You as the front of your business needs to be doing this stuff that the person is paying you for your brain, right? The big money, paying you for your brain.
Can I counter that on a little bit? And I'd love to hear your input on that. Because in theory, I 100% agree with you. However, if the person is not actually taking responsibility of the outcome, meaning it's just a routine task, fill this in, fill that in, but they're not taking spelling, for example, or they're not making sure that I know in Japan is they must be in exactly the little box that it is, otherwise you redo the whole form. So this is the responsibility for the outcome. They can just write it in. They can just do the process. But if the person is not taking responsibility for the outcome, it's still a task that might not need a brain power, but now you screw because now you kind of need to redo everything. So
now
what is the use of delegating?
Yeah,
exactly.
So
it's important how do you do that?
That you log those issues. So a good example, you just use forms. Well, in my industry, we do forms all day long. It's forms. But anyway, so when I'm going through a form that has been pre-prepared by my assistant, if I see an issue, I'm going to make sure I make a record of that. I don't jump down her throat, but she needs to be aware of these things. And she also needs to be aware of if a client takes issue with something. We're in this together. Ultimately, it's me. If it gets sent out to a client or it's sent out and there's an error, that's my problem because I needed to do the final check. That is my job. It comes down to us. But we have assistants, and so they do need to be aware if there are issues, because that will help them to do better in the future.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is, you want staff who care, right? You want staff who, when you speak to them and you say, hey, there's an issue here, they are maybe a little bit defensive or they are a little bit upset about it, because that tells you that they give a crap about what they're doing. So I want someone who is a little upset if that happens. And I will reassure them, I'm on your side, but we need to watch this. This is a problem. We're a details business, so we need to watch these details. And I think as long as you can incite positive change, then that's fine. I was having this conversation with a good friend of mine this morning who's a lot like you, Daphne, and she's like, I want it done, and I want it done yesterday. And, that's fine, but staff are real people. They're going to make mistakes. So, you can be like that with them, see how they last. So, but I do think that it is a happy medium, because you can't have staff that are also costing you money as an entrepreneur. They need to be on your team. You need to be on their team. So we're working collaboratively with our staff, building that relationship, so that we all care about that end process. And that's a lot about knowing your customer, and your staff is also your customer, right? And what motivates them and what makes them care and what makes them want to do a really, really good job.
Can I flip that on you? Sorry, Tommy, I'd actually love your input on that too. So let's flip it. So, all right, cool. Your staff is also your team is also your clients, but so are you. You are their client. If they don't do what makes us kind of happy, how does it work? So I like what you said about the collaborative approach, that both of you need to work towards the outcome. But Tommy, in your speciality of clarification, how would you clarify that from both sides? Because you give someone a job description or a checklist or whatever they do. I had one lady this week that did a story, she posted the story online, and she only used functionality on the first clip, the first part of the story, the first 20 seconds or 15 seconds or whatever, and then the rest of it nothing. So I'm like, now that to me is not taking responsibility of the outcome. How would you clarify that? Because she did the task, the form was filled in, the story was posted, but it was not done to the outcome.
I think the best way to do things is that when staff or things are not done appropriately, that needs to be communicated immediately. When I say communicated, it's not necessarily attacking your staff or anything, but it needs to be communicated. And what we used to have in my previous business, we used to have something like what do we call it, like a fail percentage or something. So it's going to be recorded, right? And on a quarterly basis or whatever that time would be, that is going to reveal the percentage of, say in this case, the errors, right? I mean, then we used to call it fail because you failed a batch, but this could be like a percentage of maybe what the things that went wrong or things that didn't go right according, we could name it whatever you could name it, but it has to be communicated and recorded. So, I mean, the process of recording is what you have to decide something that works for you, but it has to be recorded because that's the only way you can change things. Because if it's not recorded, then there's no way of measuring it, right? So maybe the recording can be, I don't know, the clients, what happened, what should have happened, and that could be a mark, or I don't know, whatever mark you want to call that, and then that percentage out of all the works they've done could be a percentage. So you can say that, okay, within the period of a month, you must be less than 1% or less than 2%. I mean, those are the percentage we used to. I've not implemented that now because I've not, it's not something that is relevant to me because at the moment, but I think moving forward, even after this conversation, is something I'm going to think about, because if it's not recorded and it's just said, people might forget it. So what is the process of recording it as simply as possible that you're not giving yourself any additional work? It could be whatever project management system you have, maybe it's just a column there that you put a column there, or maybe an error or whatever, just something that you can just do a tick or add an information so that this can be exported out, and then a percentage can be calculated on Excel, maybe over a period of a month, and then you'll give what the percentage is allowed. So when people see that, that gives them that level of responsibility as well. I don't mean to be like very, very technical, but because of my background with regards to 99.9% efficiency, right? We had to do things like that. So that could be adjusted in such a way to your type of business, I think.
It's super interesting. That's such a great way, I think, of keeping things very, very clear for your staff. And that clarity piece that you work on is so important for staff because they need to know where they stand at all times. And it kind of goes hand in hand with something that I always say with regard to, whether you're going to keep someone or not, is if they're costing you money, then that's the deciding factor. They need to be making you money, not costing you money. Neutral is one thing because maybe you can work it up, but if they're costing you money, it's not going to be a good relationship. It's not a good fit, and it's not going to work. And turning it around, it's probably not going to happen at that stage if they've gotten to that stage or if they started at that stage. But what you've done, Tommy, has made it very quantifiable, because if there are recorded errors or issues, suddenly you can say this is costing money because of these recorded errors. And it's not that you need a leg to stand on, because you can terminate people for other reasons or in other ways, but it's that you want to know if your business is going to be, if they're going to help make your business profitable, right? So that's great. I love that.
Another thing that helps with, I would tell you, I know we're focusing on staff at the moment. Another thing that tells you is, say, for example, you're having specific errors on stories or specific errors on Instagram instead of Facebook. That would open your mind to see that there is a process deficiency here. We need to adjust. Maybe it's our processes that's not working, because the percentages of errors in this area is higher, significantly higher in comparison to other jobs that we do. So that has also helped to be able to, improve the processes as well. So it might not necessarily be the fault of the staff. It might just be the way that you do things. Maybe you're doing too much copying and pasting. I know the error in copying and paste is really high. So just wanted to add that.
So I get what you're saying, clarification in processes. I 100% agree with that. However, policies, in my opinion, is the biggest load of BS. No one reads it. It just takes a lot of time, and it's always changing. It's very cool. So now you've got a process, and you put it in a policy, and you go, guys, go read it, and go live it, and go live it, and then a system changes. Then all of that is completely ruined. Or now Instagram or Facebook has an update, or the immigration people have got a new way of doing things. So everything is just like out the window.
Every 2 weeks.
Exactly. That specifically in the time that we're living in, just like what? But the biggest problem that I have is people don't read it. So now we've done video.
So you don't like policy manuals that are written policies. It's not that you don't think there should be rules, but it's this kind of BS of we write the policy book, we give it to somebody. It's kind of useless at that stage, or it becomes defunct because it's out of date in 2 weeks for me. That kind of thing. But I think you do believe in policy and procedure as far as, because you want your people to do exactly what they need to do to get the job done. And you have a certain expectation how that should happen.
Definitely. And even in that expectation, there is processes involved. I mean, step 1, step 2, step 3. But like that's just normal, because we need to have it measurable. And then we need to have accountability to the outcome. Otherwise, you're treading water all the time. You're never actually making progress. But all right, so now you've got this policy. We have turned into videos. We have made videos in the process, like we've been recording. For example, when we do a Instagram story, how do we do the story? Like literally screen grabbing. What is the functionality? How do we do the searches? What is the trends that we're following? Like now we use that as not just a policy, but also as a training mechanism. So we found that kind of works a little bit better. But now the thing is, people don't watch those. So now I'm like, all right, cool.
Just like bureaucracy.
Help me. Because I'm sure if I'm facing this, you guys have faced it. And how many others of entrepreneurs are facing exactly the same thing? So now I'm starting to go like, is it a hiring issue that we're having? Am I making stupid decisions all the time on who I'm hiring? Like, help me here, because now it becomes deeper. That first the external problem, now it becomes the internal problem. So what is the philosophical problem here? And I'm sure a majority of women will then go, I'm a failure as an entrepreneur.
I would recommend if you're having that kind of I would recommend from a staff point of view. I know you said that maybe you don't know what the problem is. 2 things. I would recommend you having a workflow, systematic workflow that is step by step, because I just said, you might have 5 pages of procedures, and you know how procedures can be daunting, especially, not to say anything, but in corporate environment, people just maybe they love themselves, they love their words, and they write so technical. They have this 1.1.2a, 2.2.3a, and I just feel it's just honestly a simple diagram, a simple chart will do the job. But anyway, companies love that. So I would recommend, first of all, to have a workflow in place. When I say workflow, a system, a software in place that directs from one stage to another. That's first of all. Alternative, actually. In addition to that, if you are creating it, get your staff to create it themselves. If you're creating procedure, get them to do it themselves rather than you creating it and giving it to them, because when they create it, they understand it better. So if you're going to say, for example, you have a process already, this is the process, this is how we do things, and you want to include that into a workflow, get them to do it themselves. When they do it, it's more practical, and whatever that doesn't make sense, they can ask questions, and it just makes life a little bit easier, I think.
That's great. And that could work for you, Daphne, because you were saying that it's functions that you're creating.
I'm literally just talking about scenarios, because this is stuff that like this specific scenario I could have encountered this week, but something similar another person could have encountered. Because what I've also realized is all of us are struggling with exactly the same principles. Our situations and our context just different. But the principle of, I've told you this how many times, like that thing still happens in all the entrepreneurs and the scenarios that I get in.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that goes away, because I mean, I think you have certain staff members who they don't need you to tell them things a whole bunch of times, but they also may outgrow your company because they're that good, or they may get burned out because you use them that much because they're that good. And I would say that the majority of people, they want to be able to just go to work and have a nice environment and work for their money so they can do what they actually want to do. And it doesn't mean that they're wasting time there or that they're a bad employee. They're just your regular kind of employee. And then you get a few superstars that actually make those employees look bad. But superstars, I think, they're the gems. They're the real, they're so special. And as an employer, it's your job to not burn them out, because that's the first thing you'll do. They're so good. You'll work them like a dog, and they'll take on the tasks because they're so good and they're such high achievers and they're such wonderful parts of the team. But then they will either move on or they will, burn out. So it's kind of figuring out who is the good staff, who's not that overachiever, who's going to end up probably doing something different, but how you can work with those really good staff and have them achieve in the way that you want to. And that may come through Tomi's workflows, right? And having them do those workflows, because then they are a little bit more invested, but there's also some accountability there. And Tomi, I'm going to use this because I have a program. My software that I use for immigration work does have an ability to create workflows. And I have implemented a few of them, but I have not done a good job on that. And that's my fault, due diligence. But now I'm realizing maybe it's not my fault. Maybe I need to delegate that to my assistants and let them create these workflows so that they work for them and then ultimately for me. So that was I like that.
Good. I think just to add a little bit, sorry, Daphne, you mentioned that maybe like in a situation where you've told someone over and over again and they don't get it done. I would say in my experience, it's more that has happened to me from a department point of view. In the department that is working on, for example, my previous experience, meaning like what's it called, pharmaceutical manufacturing medicines. Everyone understands that the importance and that we're literally dealing with people's lives. So those one, they always follow the process, the rule, and whatever it is. I think it's the department where it's not a life or death issue. Say, for example, sales, customer service, admin, those kind of roles where, if I don't do it, then what's the worst that can happen kind of attitude. That is where I've experienced problems. But the people that actually from a quality control, manufacturing, dealing with medicines, releasing raw materials and things like that, they know the impact of what they're doing, that if there is a mistake, there is someone's life on the line. And I think that is the difference that I have experienced. But every other department has similar issue.
No, I get it. I think if there might be something like someone could test character, before you make an hire instead of characteristics, because a lot of the times there's all these solutions on how to find the personality type that you want and what is the strength and the weaknesses and all these questionnaires, but even in small group environments you can test people. But how is it you can test character beforehand? Because that usually only starts to show after 2.5 months, right? So if you can determine beforehand, it's like dating. What is the character? Are they going to lie to you? Are they going to do what they say to you? They say they will. Are they going to steal from you? Are they going to accept a bribe? These are things that you kind of don't know beforehand, and no questionnaire can tell you that. That's something
Well,
that
I guess you just have to know how to fire people.
We should do a show on that.
that would be awesome. Who's that chef? Dave Ramsey. He'll be good. Get out of my kitchen.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Just be strong enough. I wasn't strong, to be honest, but I mean I've learned a lot now. Just be strong enough to just fire people. Sorry, you're not the person that you're not doing the work, and you're not the type of person that I expected to work, and just bye, really.
Yeah. What I do, yeah. Then again, it comes into paperwork. So I agree with what you're saying. Now to get the paperwork to work with that, and to still protect people. Oh, we're going down a whole different rabbit hole. Let's keep that for next time.
Yeah. Yeah, we
So,
should
but thank you so much, ladies. It's always such an amazing pleasure chatting to you and giving so much value. Remember, same time, same place next week. And I would love to have you. Remember to please, guys, follow us on our social media platforms. Follow us on our Instagram, our Facebook. Join our group, and keep an eye out for our website that's coming soon. Annie, what is your last words for today?
Oh, Daphne's seen me yawning because I wake up at 4:00 in the morning. So by this time of day, I'm a little bit tired. But, this has been a great talk as usual. And I hope that some of the things that we have brainstormed or spoken about do resonate with the people watching today. This is, I think, a bigger topic than we even were able to get through today. But it was really wonderful speaking with everybody. And I'm really looking forward to next week.
Me and you, last words for today?
Yes, it's been brilliant. I love the topic about delegation. I think it's just, I think my takeaway from here is to delegate as much as possible so that you can do the best, what you're good at, and which is most of the time the creativity part of it, and ensure you provide the right resources for the people that you're delegating to. So that's my take on for today's chat, and it's been lovely. I love every single part of it.
Thank you. And then just from us, I want to add on what Tony said is, delegate as much as you can, but make sure that the person that you're delegating to takes responsibility of the outcome and the decision making. Because if you just delegate and you still have to make all the decisions, it kind of takes the same amount of time. So make sure that the person that you're delegating to is able to take responsibility for the decisions as well. And that's us for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time, same place, same time. Join us. We love to have you. Bye.
Bye.